green. Yay! Can you hear me? Yay! Good afternoon, API Platform Conference. I'm super glad to be here. Thank you very much for attending my talk, and for those of you who are online. Today I want to zoom in on a certain type of web applications. I'm talking about those long-lived apps we used at work to get complex tasks done. Let's call them admin apps. This category covers dashboards, ERPs, SaaS apps, internal tools, B2B portals, etc. And some of the apps you use daily fit that description. For instance, a ticketing system, a database admin tool, a payment platform, a document management system. These are all what I call admin apps. These apps come with unique challenges and they require specific solutions. A big chunk of their logic is CRUD. For instance, adding orders, listing team members, editing wiki pages, deleting requests. That's why they often use a REST API, and that's why API Platform is a great choice for the backend. They also need standard UI components like menu, search bars, bulk action toolbars, etc. And while primarily used on desktop, they should be dense, but still adaptable for mobile, although they're not mobile first. These apps handle complex domains, and they allow users to manage multiple resources at once. And since they're internal, usually, they need to be cost-effective, and they don't require flashy consumer-level UI. A good approach for building these admin apps is to start with an admin generator. It gives you a low-cost UI, and developers can adjust it to match what end users actually want. Django's admin, written in Python, was the first admin generator. It took advantage of the ORM's understanding of the model. And today in the Symfony world, there are 3 well-known admin generators: Easy Admin Bundle, Sonata Admin Bundle, and API Platform Admin. They're all open source, well-documented, and actively maintained. I'd like to do a quick poll. Please raise your hand if you use Easy Admin Bundle. Yeah, it's a good 30–40%. Who's using Sonata Admin Bundle? It's about 10%. And who's using API Platform Admin? Yay! Again, something like 40%. That's great. I think these tools are all great, but they serve different purposes. In my opinion, Easy Admin Bundle is perfect for simple admin apps, but its API hits a wall fast when you need more customization. Sonata Admin Bundle, it works well for complex apps, but I wouldn't recommend it for simpler ones because there's a lot of boilerplate. And plus, when you need custom logic, it can feel like you're fighting against a library. API Platform Admin, on the other hand, is flexible. It can handle anything from basic CRUD to fully custom apps with complex UI and logic. And to round it out, we need to consider ease of use, which affects costs. Easy Admin Bundle is designed to be user-friendly with a familiar PHP API and minimal boilerplate. On the flip side, Sonata Admin Bundle is the toughest. It's part of a bigger framework built for CMSs. API Platform Admin is easy for basic apps and gets more challenging as things get complex. But there's no silver bullet. Even for complex apps, its component-based API helps keep the code manageable. And this is just my personal take. Your experience may differ. But I'm here to convince you to use API Platform Admin and to show some of its features that no other admin generator can offer. But first, let's talk a bit about myself. I'm a software engineer. I started building web apps in the early 2000s. While at Sensio Labs, I contributed to a small framework called Symfony that was open sourced a few years later. And I even wrote the definitive guide to Symfony. That's the round purple badge down there. I had the chance to learn from Fabien Potentier himself, so yeah, I got lucky. I also created and maintained a library that you've probably used called Faker. I don't know if you know this one. I'm the lead developer of React Admin, who's also a sponsor of API Platform Con. And it's a core dependency of API Platform Admin. My company is called Marmolab. It lets me work on open source projects because I founded it. So it's our business model. We're about 20 people. We are in France, in the eastern part of France, and we're hiring. Okay, let's get back to API Platform Admin. Its main goal is to help you get started quickly without holding you back. In other words, API Platform Admin aims to make simple admins easy to build and complex admins possible, borrowing a quote from the renowned computer scientist Alan Kay, no other than the inventor of object-oriented programming. And to make this happen, API Platform Admin uses a unique approach. First, it taps into the API Platform attributes that you've already added to your model to generate a working admin with zero extra configuration. Two, when your API changes, the admin changes with it. Adjust attributes for validation, filtering, or embedding, and you're also tweaking the admin UI at the same time. Three, when attributes are not enough, you can copy the generated JavaScript code from your browser and adjust it using a simple JavaScript API. And four, for deeper customization, React Admin has your back. You can eject the generated code and swap it with your own components. Sounds too good to be true? Well, let's check that out with a demo. Maybe that's a bit small for people on the back. It's basically an API platform app with two entities, book and review. It's the classic API platform demo. A book has some typical fields, ISBN code, title, description, author, all strings. It also has a publication date and a one-to-many relationship with reviews, nothing too complex. The book model has some basic asserts and uses the API resource attribute to expose the resource through the API. The same applies to the review entity. It has a rating, body, author, and publication date, along with a many-to-one relationship to a book. This is enough to generate a fully working REST API for these two entities with the API platform. I can read, list, update, create, and delete books and reviews using any HTTP client. For this demo, I've added some data fixtures with the Zenstruct Foundry, so we can easily list the books, for instance. The API is already functional, so that's very small, but I did a get on the /books resource, and I get a response containing my data fixtures, and I also get a documentation of the response using the Hydra grammar, so you know all that. Now, how do we leverage this API and this grammar to build an admin for the API? Well, in fact, you don't have to do anything. The API platform admin distribution, the API platform distribution has everything set up for you. In the PWA directory, it registers an admin route that loads the app component on the client side. The code of this root file isn't important. You never need to touch it. The actual admin code is this app file, which is also provided in the standard distribution. And it's really straightforward. It renders one component called Hydra admin, and it uses the API entry point to read the Hydra schema and generate an entire admin app. And it works out of the box. The admin app launches with a single command, and it contains list, show, and edit views for both the books and reviews entities. This is the books list view. It's a paginated data grid showing all the books fields, including the associated reviews. I can export the book list to CSV. I can create a new book. And if I click on the show button on a row, I see the show view where I can check out more details about a book. Notice how the app bar at the top already displays the book title automatically. And when I press the edit button on the top right, the page switches to an edit form. The form fields match the types defined by the PHP attributes. There's a text input for the description, there's a date input for the publication date, and there's a multi-select input for the associated reviews. The form even converts the assert attributes into client-side validation. For example, if the description field is left blank, the admin warns the user before even reaching the API. And once this form is valid, submitting it takes you back to the list view where the updated record appears. You can also delete a book by clicking the delete button on the bottom right. API Platform Admin also auto-detects the fields in the reviews model and generates CRUD pages for it. You can see there are bulk actions enabled by default on the list view, so users can select multiple rows and delete them all at once. And when editing a review, the associated book field uses a select input with choices populated from the book list. So what you're seeing is a fully functional admin for two entities, managing pagination, relationships, navigation, and validation. In my opinion, this is already a big step up from PHP And I almost forgot the app supports dark mode and lets you refresh data without reloading the page. That's the button on the top right. And all of this works without any special configuration. This is the out-of-the-box experience with API Platform. I didn't even have to write a single line of JavaScript. So the first promise of API Platform Admin, check. But let's be honest, this generated admin is pretty bare bones. The columns are not sortable. There's no way to search for a specific book or review. And the admin shows the book ID instead of its title. And plus, there's no real-time updates. So if one user makes changes, another one won't see them until they refresh the page. So we need to customize this admin a bit. And to do that, we'll start by customizing the API. I'll start by enhancing the model with some API Platform attributes. Adding real-time updates is simple. The API resource attribute has a Mercure option that handles it. I'll use the order filter class to make certain columns sortable, the search filter class to specify which fields are searchable by string, and the date filter class to make the publication date searchable by date. And lastly, I'll declare the book title as the main entity name using the API property resource. I'll do the same for the review model, add Mercure, order, search filters, and this time I'll also include a numeric filter for the rating field. And for the record representation, I've chosen to use the publication date. These changes update the API to accept additional query parameters, enabling sorting and filtering by the specified fields, and it also updates the admin. Now in the review list, you can click on column headers to change the sort order, as you can see in the screenshot where reviews are ordered by publication date. Users can also filter the lists, like in this example where only reviews with a rating of 5 are shown. Users can also add more filters by clicking the Add Filter button, which even lets them save their current combination as a new preset. And check out the book column. The associated book now displays the actual title instead of its ID. In the reviews edit form, the book select options also display book titles instead of their IDs. And it's tough to capture in screenshots, so you have to trust me. The admin fully supports real-time updates. So whenever one user updates a book or a review, everyone else sees the change instantly. The book list also has been improved with ordering and filtering. In this example, we're using a partial match on book titles. API Platform uses an I like filter by default on these searches. All of this was done using regular API platform attributes. These changes benefit all API users, not just the admin. And we still haven't written a single line of JavaScript. So the second promise of API platform, check. And before I go further, let me take a sip of water so you can fully appreciate how cool this is. And I'll also give you a moment to think about whether API platform admin can hit the last two goals. Okay, so far the generated admin is nice, but we can do better. For example, in the book list, we don't need to show the description. It can be reserved for the book detail page. It would also be great to customize the column labels. It would be great to set a default sort field or to rearrange the data grid columns and form fields in a different order. But we can't really do that with just PHP attributes. I mean, we could theoretically use groups to control which fields appear in the list or show view. But then what about field order? What about labels? They would get complicated fast and probably hard to maintain. Every configuration language has its limits, and API platform attributes are mainly designed to customize an API. So to take the admin further, we'll need to customize the admin code, and yes, that means JavaScript. But where do we start? As I mentioned earlier, the JavaScript code for the admin is just one simple file. The code generated by API platform admin based on the schema is in memory. It doesn't exist anywhere in the file system. Plus, I don't want to rewrite the entire admin. Most of what API platform admin generates is perfectly fine. So how can I customize only parts of it? Fortunately, API platform admin dumps the code it generates into the console on every page. So just open your browser's DevTools and there it is. This is all thanks to a feature called guessers. So if I want to customize one page, all I need to do is to copy the generated code for this and tweak it. This is the code that API platform admin dumps in the console for the book lists. If this is your first time seeing React code, it might look like XML, and in fact, it kind of is. React uses a language called JSX, which is a mix of JavaScript and HTML. It's familiar to front-end developers, and you can pick it up in about 5 minutes, and I'll dive deeper into JSX later in this talk. For now, I copied this code from the console and pasted it into a new file I created called booklist, and then I started making some tweaks. In that file, I added a sort prop to the list guesser to set a default sort order. I also customized the label of the ISBN field to make it all caps and removed the description column from the list. I did the same on the book edit form. I created bookEdit.tsx, copied the code from the console. I added the warn when unsaved changes prop to warn users if they leave without submitting changes. I updated the ISBN label, moved the author input after the description. I made the description input multi-line and removed the review selection. It didn't make sense in this page. And I made similar changes in the book show view and in the reviews list show and edit pages. How did I know I could do that? Well, I just followed the API platform admin documentation. It's that simple. No need to learn React. In fact, all the React complexity is handled by the guesser components, so you don't have to worry about things like state and effects. It's all taken care of. And to replace the default generated page with my custom pages, I edited the app.tsx file and I used my components as the list show and edit prop of a new component called resource guesser. And just like that, the book list is now ordered by title by default. It no longer shows the description and the ISBN colon label is in capital letters. Just like that, the book edit form now uses a text area for the description instead of a single line input, and it no longer allows changing the reviews. The same technique let me improve the review list by removing unnecessary information. In the review edit form, I made the publication date read-only and removed the option to change the book. Overall, the admin is now less tied to the data model and more aligned with the user workflow. I did write some JavaScript, but I started with the generated code and just tweaked it with basic props. And I only used 6 React components: list guesser, show guesser, edit guesser, field guesser, input guesser, and resource guesser for an entire admin. 6 components. This is something that even backend PHP developers can handle. So don't stick with an admin that lacks usability just because PHP attributes cannot do everything. Make the jump to JavaScript. You'll find it as fun as when you first hacked WordPress templates. And that's the third premise of API Platform Admin. We wrote some JavaScript code and it wasn't painful. And now the admin is much better. But now that we've started creating task-oriented user experience and freeing the design from the data model, well, there's a lot more we can improve. For example, I'd love to remove the API platform logo in the app bar, and switch that green to a less aggressive color. In the book list, showing all the reviews for each book is not helpful. Users would prefer seeing maybe the total number of reviews instead. And also those show and edit buttons on each row, they take up some space. Why not remove them and make each row clickable? Same in the review list. The related book is currently displayed in a chip. I'd rather have it inline to reduce the visual clutter. And the rating is just a number. Why not use a star rating field? That's more intuitive. The form layout could also be improved. For example, limiting input width, placing smaller fields like rating and publication date on the same line, reducing the margin between inputs. That would make a big difference in terms of usability. To achieve that, we need to dive into React for real. We'll be using the React Admin package. I told you I'm the lead developer of React Admin, right? API Platform Admin is already a thin layer over React Admin, and it provides binding for OpenAPI and Hydra. To unlock the full potential of API Platform Admin, I'll install these 3 packages: React Admin, Material UI Components, and Material UI Icons. And now we can get fancy. Instead of using API Platform Admin's list guesser, I'm switching to React Admin's list component, which gives us more customization options. I'll also use the data grid component directly, which removes the show and edit buttons on each row. Finally, I'll add a number field to display the number of reviews. I don't need to use a field guesser if I already know the field type, and here the number of reviews is a number, so I'll use a number field. For the book edit page, I'll customize it in a similar way. I'm using edit instead of edit guesser, which lets me enable the undoable mode. You'll see what I mean soon. I'm also using simple form to limit the max width of the input, and I set helper text equals false to reduce the vertical space between each input. And for the ISBN and publication date, I place them in a single row using Material UI's stack component. Keep in mind that if I replace an input guesser with the React Admin input, like I did for the description, I need to manually apply the validation rules since they are no longer guessed from the schema. I took it a step further for the book show view. Instead of relying on API Platform Admin's show guesser, I wrote a custom view from scratch using a tabbed layout. This lets me display book details on one tab and the associated reviews in another. And I also used Material UI's rating component to show the rating as stars. Finally, I updated the main app component to use React Admin's default layout and themes. I set the record representation for each resource and added custom icons for the menu. And the result is not playing. Sorry, maybe I should have a Wi-Fi connection. Give me a second. I have a video playing online, but as I'm not connected, that will do, hopefully. Let's try again. Yes, no. How come you're not seeing anything? Yes? Ah, that's awful. Oh, yes, fantastic. Internet. So the result is an admin that's far more user-friendly than the original. By using React Admin and Material UI, we've unlocked a whole new range of customizations. And really, with React Admin, the only limit is your imagination. Now I have auto-completion in select inputs. I have undoable mutations. I have custom form widgets. I have a polished look and feel, and much more. That's undoable mutations. Yeah, even have the nice list. Fantastic. Okay, I couldn't watch this forever, but we have a talk to finish. Now you can see the full power of API Platform Admin. It never limits you. Every part can be replaced or customized using the powerful React Admin ecosystem. So to sum up, API Platform Admin offers super fast setup, easy customization for those who want to avoid JavaScript, and total freedom when you dive into React Admin. This unique developer experience was made possible by recent changes in the code base and a tight collaboration between the React Admin and API Platform teams. To get it, use API Platform Admin v4, released this summer and based on React Admin v5. And in my opinion, what makes API Platform Admin, or more specifically React Admin, so versatile is the choice of a configuration language. A configuration language is a balance between expressiveness, extensibility, readability, and finding the right one for a given application is tough. It actually took me 3 tries to get it right. Yeah, that's right. React Admin is my third admin generator. The first admin generator I wrote was for Symfony 1. And looking back, it does look a bit dated. But the basics were already there, you know, a list view, an edit view, field types, buttons, and so on. And keep in mind, this was 2008, long before CSS frameworks like Twitter Bootstrap. The Symfony admin generator used YAML for its configuration. Who doesn't love YAML? Okay, some of you don't. But anyway, it's readable, it's concise, it's declarative. But YAML had its limits, you know. If the admin generator didn't support a feature, you were stuck. The lack of conditionals, the static nature of the configuration, it led to all kinds of roadblocks. In the end, it was good for building glorified PHP admin interfaces, but not full-fledged admin apps. The second admin generator I wrote, no, wait, maybe it was the third. But anyway, it was called ngAdmin. It was an admin generator for AngularJS, and this time it used Bootstrap. And wow, look at these generated pages, how they look gorgeous. They did back in 2012. After my experience with the Symfony admin generator, I realized that a static language like YAML was too limiting. So for ngAdmin, I designed a way to build an admin not with a configuration language, but with code, and more specifically, JavaScript code. When you think about it, this is the same approach used by Easy Admin Bundle and Sonata Admin Bundle. They rely on a PHP API to configure the admin. It allows them to leverage dependency injection. It makes the admin generator highly extensible. In ngAdmin, most of the configuration is still declarative, means describing what the admin should have. But since it's code, you can add conditions, loops, and logic, bringing some imperative programming into the mix. However, this approach turned out to be more verbose than YAML, like the repetitive nga.field syntax. It's less readable, it's harder to learn because it's a DSL, and plus ngAdmin generates HTML and CSS, and understanding the connection between the JS configuration and the generated HTML was tricky, making debugging tough. And despite using code, there were still limits that developers couldn't break through, like not being able to create custom pages. And so React Admin was born. This time it's based on material design, although at its core it's headless, meaning you can use it with any UI kit, for instance Tailwind, Chakra UI, and Design, or Bootstrap if you want. This gives you the flexibility to build web apps with a completely different look and feel. So for instance, I used React Admin to develop a note-taking app with AI auto-completion capabilities. It doesn't look like material design, right? Someone even built a Spotify clone with React Admin. And as you can see, it's far from being limited like its predecessors. It breaks free from the old mold of just tables and forms. The key to this extensibility is JSX, the templating language invented by React and that you use to configure your pages in a React Admin app. JSX allows you to use HTML, custom components, and imperative JavaScript code together. So you can change the configuration based on conditions, like in this example that renders a list of users with two different UIs depending on whether the user is on desktop or on mobile. JSX naturally supports dependency injection through React context, and TypeScript adds strong static typing, helping catch more errors at build time. So JSX unlocks tons of new possibilities, allowing features that no other admin generator can offer. So I really think that JSX was the key ingredient to the popularity of React Admin. And another key to its success is that it has the biggest library of reusable, user-friendly components. That matters because your admins will likely need more than just basic lists, forms, and inputs. So you will want features that are common enough to already have tried and true solutions. You see, I personally see HTML and CSS as the basic Lego bricks of web apps. I can build large cities with Lego bricks, but it's error-prone, it's slow, and it's costly. Instead, I prefer to use pre-built sets designed for specific purposes. This lets me build larger, more sophisticated systems in less time. React Admin components are the same, but for web apps. They are battle-tested, they are backend agnostic and fully customizable solutions to common admin requirements. With React Admin components, developing admins feels like child's play. Let me show you a few examples. React Admin offers many small components like the Prev Next button, which lets users switch to the next record in an edit view. Translatable inputs is a component for editing translated fields. There's also the menu live component, which adds a small badge to menu items when a real-time update happens. React Admin also offers medium-sized components like the filter list, an alternative to the filter form. It's perfect for fields with limited options. The revisions button takes advantage of React Admin's ability to track modification history, displaying a revision selector. Another medium-sized component you can use in your admins is the wizard form, perfect for multi-step processes and handling complex forms. And React Admin also provides larger, full-featured building blocks like the calendar component, which helps arrange meetings or events in a familiar interface. For rich text editing, I use the smart rich text input, which comes with AI-powered correction and editing features. And finally, I can customize the application layout by choosing the solo layout, which renders the main menu in a thin column that expands to show secondary menu items. This leaves more horizontal space for the content. And there's many more. Currently, React Admin has over 230 hooks and components you can mix and match to build the perfect admin for your customers in no time. And if that's not enough, you're never limited. Remember, you can plug in any custom React component and replace the ones provided by React Admin. And for all these reasons, API Platform is truly the ultimate admin generator. Thank you very much.